Welcome to part 5 of the new prepay function in Bookmanager. This one will be a short one, and it will be discussing refunding a prepay. So the off chance that a customer who has prepaid for something, whether it has arrived or not, it's still in transit or on order, or it's a forthcoming title, a pre-order, you can essentially refund a prepayment. And it works fairly simply and using very similar approaches to how you'd normally refund a customer. So from the last video, I have an example up on my screen, and maybe since it's already here, we'll just start with this one. I have a prepaid order that has arrived. It was received. I have a book here waiting to be picked up for my customer, and it was a prepaid book, and maybe they phoned in or came in and basically said, actually, I don't want it anymore. So in this case, I've got the original, or I've got the held pickup for this, and I would actually use this to tender the refund because it's got all the details I need. So I'm going to edit into this held sale. And in this case, I'm not actually going to redeem this prepay anymore. They're not actually picking this up. So what I want to do is I could scan the book again, or I'm just going to retain the ISBN here. I'm going to copy it, highlight it, and right click to copy. And I'm going to remove this. I'm actually going to delete it, which will effectively create an orphan for the original prepayment. But we're going to take care of that in a second. So when I delete this, if I were to actually go back and look at my account now, just as a quick aside, we'll look at the complete history here. We're now going to see that under my new active area, I've got this book with a prepayment, but it's got an issue as part of it. And that's because Bookmanager has now recognized that I took prepayment for this, but now there's no longer a linking transaction. There's no order or held sale to resolve this original prepayment. So we can see that Bookmanager is trying to warn you that there may be a problem with this. So by deleting that pickup held, it has now gone into a problem status, this red status. Going to escape back, get back to the point of sale here. And I've removed that item because they're no longer picking it up. So that actually puts that item back on the shelf. It's back in stock. If I were to go and look at this item like I normally would, I'd see that I have one available on hand. So just like before, if a customer were not picking up an order or something and you were going to shelve it, you would just delete the held sale. But now I need to give them a refund for their prepaid amount. So this is where I'm going to scan the book, or I can just put in the ISBN again. You'll notice that the status will come up because it's got basically something that can happen with this, something out of the ordinary. I'm not just selling this anymore to this customer, but there is a refund option available. It detects that there is essentially a prepayment, an existing prepayment for this customer. And so again, it doesn't just automatically choose the sell status like it normally would, but you've got a few. We can mark this as an additional, a new prepayment. We can refund a prepaid item, or I can fill the prepaid item. So this is where I could choose to essentially, if I accidentally deleted that held sale and I wanted to restore it, I would choose this fill option, and that would actually bring it back and reconcile the original prepayment, and all would be well. But in this case, I want to choose the refund option. It'll say Perpy refund. -1 is the quantity, just like a regular refund. And then I can go through and do what I normally do. Put it back on their card, do a credit on the account, however you want to do it. So say I'm just going to do a Visa refund. Great. It's gone into the gray status, meaning that it is resolved. It is complete. There is no more action needed. And I can look at the 6 for customers area. It's now no longer in the active area because again, it's all done. If I look at the H for history and go down to prepays, I will then see it is reflected here too. I can find on this date, we did a prepay issued. And then on this date, we did a refund, and it's all grayed out. It's all resolved. So hopefully that is fairly straightforward. The next scenario, and likely the more common scenario, is that someone is canceling a prepayment for something that was on order, a pre-order, and it has yet to arrive yet. So they've changed their mind. The book has not arrived yet. So we just need to issue a refund for something we don't have. Works very similar to the other scenario. This time though, you won't have something physical to scan, so likely you'll identify this through their account. You could also search it up, but either way, we need to get it into the point of sale, and likely the fastest way of doing this is with the copy function. So what I would do is I'd look it up, I'd bring up their account, I'd then see under the active area, the original prepayment done. So there we go. I see in this area here, this is indicating that there's a prepay, and again, it's been issued for something that's on order. and it's yellow, meaning that it is still active. I also see over here that something is pending. It could be sent, it doesn't really matter, but I've got a pending Penguin Random House order, and it looks like the release date on this is October 19th. What I need to do, or what I'd like to do, is just bring up the original invoice number. So this is where I can use the tab key to get down below. I can then press 4 for point of sale or enter. This will bring it up, and this will bring up the original prepay. I like to do it this way because it's just a little bit quicker, and I'm lazy and I don't want to type in ISBNs or search for things. It's just simple for me to bring it up this way and then do a C for copy. So I'm not going to edit the original prepay, especially since most often it'll be a historical transaction, so you won't be able to edit or delete it. Instead, I'm going to do C for copy, throw in my clear code, it's going to duplicate it. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the B for backorder function to change the status. And right off the bat, Bookmanager is a bit smart. It kind of knows, well, why are you wanting to maybe modify the status? And it's choosing refund right off the bat. It kind of figures that's what you're doing if you were doing this. So I'm just going to choose refund. What I'd also want to do though is make sure I cancel the order as well. So the order doesn't really matter, the order of operations on this, but what I would definitely do is cancel this order. At this point, you've just got to remember to go O for order. That's my go-to for canceling or changing orders. Just press O for order. And then I can go down here and delete this. I can hit D for delete on this order and delete both the customer information and the order. And there we go. That is now gone. And I can go through to tendering and put it on account or back on their card, however we do it. And now it's been refunded and they are resolved. Now I'd like to show you what would happen if you were to have canceled the order before refunding the prepayment. So essentially Bookmanager sees that there's a prepayment for something on order. And again, you are canceling that order first. So perhaps you started off by searching for the item and not looking at the customer's account. So maybe the customer had phoned in and said, oh, I have a book on order and I'd like to cancel it. And maybe you started by looking it up. However you want to look it up. So I've got the item here. I've got a special order. I can press H for history to look at the orders. I could see, oh yeah, looks like I do have an order for you for this item. If you at this point were to say D for delete or cancel the order, Bookmanager will actually warn you. It'll say, important, this customer's special order is prepaid. If deleted and not reordered, the prepayment will become orphaned unless refunded. Again, it's warning you that deleting this will keep a prepayment on their account that won't automatically get refunded or credited, so you have to take action. So this message doesn't really do anything. It's just to tell you what's going on so you're aware. So this is when you hit any key, it brings up the usual delete order. And if I were to delete both the customer information and the order, I can do that. But now just be aware that if I look at the original prepayment for this customer, whether I bring it up in the point of sale or whether I look it up in 6 for customers, I have a issue. I have a prepayment marked here, the original prepayment. Now this is looking a bit wacky here because of the way I was going about this, but essentially there is no longer a record on order or something for it. This is normally what I'd see, an issue. So it's basically showing that, yep, this is no longer on order for the customer. There's no attached order record. You took a prepayment, so you need to deal with it. And this is where I would have to, at this point, remember to go back to the point of sale, either bring up the original transaction, copy it, and then change it to a prepay refund, which it actually does automatically in this scenario. When you've deleted the order first and then you copy it or try to rescan it again, it's going to automatically change it to a refund. Or if you had started this from scratch, so I didn't even had, I started a brand new transaction after I had deleted that order, I could then just bring up the customer's name, scan or search the ISBN. And again, it's going to prompt me to do a refund on the prepaid items. So hopefully Bookmanager is giving you enough breadcrumbs and enough warning that you won't orphan any of these. And those are the 2 most common refund scenarios we see. Of course, like any other Bookmanager refund, you can sell additional items after the fact. So you could always do a refund on a prepay and then also just do a sale and you will get the balance owing or the difference that needs to go back on account.